Mic check. Alrighty, looks like everything's working. Alrighty. Off to a good start. And we're going to start off with a cat. So if anyone's here, you get to see Tristan. Tristan, come on. Oh, baby boy. Oh, yeah. Look, Tristan, look. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you like licking my nose so much? Huh? Why? Do you know? Do you even know? Okay, I'll put you down. Just show everyone your belly. Oh, look at that belly. Mwah. All right, here you go. Anyways, gonna start off by saying Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope everyone had a great New Year's. All right, let's put it to, there we go. All righty. So funny how it like tries to track my head and then it, my face, and then it like forgets where I'm at. Mm. 1 second here. Just figuring out how to attach this this cable here. I think that works. Alrighty. So this painting should be all dry at this point. So I'm going to have to, what's it called? Oil out. I love Dresden, but the hair sometimes, just everywhere. Hey, Scam, come on. I am going to need to adjust my monitor. Let's see. Light glare is such an ongoing problem. It's crazy. Alrighty. Oh no, looks like I forgot to do something important. Crap. All right, 1 second. Can't believe I forgot this. So I can walk you through the stages, talk about it briefly. So apparently um, I forgot to edit the reference in the photo. So what I do is I take a photo of my painting, and then I take it into Photoshop, um, and I overlay the two on top of each other. And I usually use a filter to help me see what I'm looking at. Um, I usually do this off screen because it is boring, because I can't do it on stream. So, or I can't do it on screen, rather. On stream I can, just not on screen. So it's not exactly the most interesting thing to watch. I use a couple filters because I find that they help me see. Because like when you overlay it, it can be really hard to see what you're looking at. So I've started using a few filters. One filter I use a lot is glowing edges. It's a stock Photoshop filter. It lets you tries to make all the edges of everything glow, as the name implies, and I overlay that on top of my painting so I can see where things are. Now, there are limitations to this. Certain edges it doesn't pick up on, and that's always a problem. And the other big issue is that you can't access the what's the word I'm looking for? You can't see the colors of the original image, so it's only good for placement. Otherwise, it's useless. Oh, I apologize for forgetting this. I will be done in just a minute. Alrighty, there we go. Shoot, I meant to do that after last week's stream. I just clearly did not get around to it. Alrighty. I will, if anyone's interested, I can what's it called? Um, I can take a photo of myself and at some point and post it with the edit just so you can see like the conceptually what it looks like. Yeah, if anyone's curious. Maybe one day, if there's interest in it, I can also do a stream where I just go over like the technical stuff on Photoshop, how I do stuff. Not sure if anyone would be interested in that or not. All right, let's oil out. So to oil out, I use oh, what is it called? Oleo gel. That's it. Jeez. My brain today. Yeah, I use oleo gel. You can use regular linseed oil. It's not doesn't really matter. Oh, okay. Well, some of this is still wet. That is shocking. All right. I'll have to be careful then. That is genuinely surprising that any of this is wet still. All right, so now at this stage, trying to remember. So last stream, I sketched in the drawing, and then I laid in the big shapes and all the color, the basic color. And then I went over it with the brayer, and that was the last step I did. Now I need to correct all the mistakes I've made and all the mistakes the brayer has created. And not just mistakes, mistakes is maybe the wrong word, just the mess that it's all created. So now I have to go in, like find the drawing again. And that's why the Photoshop is so, I don't want to say crucial, but it's very, very helpful for this stage, at least as far as like making it go quickly. I'll put it that way. But generally, I tend to go for my quinacridone rose. It's a good drawing color. It's easy to see. It's easy to incorporate into the painting. It can go cold. It can go warm. It's transparent. It's a strong color, but not too strong. Yeah. So I'm just going to go in and draw in all the places I need to kind of make adjustments. Some of these are from like legit drawing mistakes that I made because I wasn't being overly cautious when laying down the drawing, and some of these are stuff that the brayer caused. It has a tendency to mess everything up, which is the point. And I don't need to do too much. In fact, the less I do as far as like marks, the better. It's really just an issue of like what's it called? Mostly an issue of just uh putting down guidelines for myself. The great thing about doing this system is that all the like marks that are on the canvas become a kind of it's not a grid, but it is not what's the word I'm looking for? Uh like points that I can compare to. So I can see this mark here, like this dark mark, and this little spot right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but and I can see it in my photo, and I can see that like the face actually ends around here. It's probably pretty close to where it was in my sketch. A lot of this is the brayer. But yeah, all these points become landmarks for me to use to help with the drawing. There are other ways of doing this. There's a much more analog, quote unquote, analog way of doing this, which is you can print out or I guess load it on your phone or whatever, and you can stand back so that the reference is taking up visually. If you hold the reference up, it's taking up the same space as the painting. And then if you lower and raise it repeatedly, you can pick out the points and see where all the landmarks are and what everything you need to adjust. So it's a much more, like I said, analog kind of way of doing that. Funny, the braille created quite a strong line right there. Didn't even notice that earlier. Another good thing about this system in general, not specifically, today it's actually not that good, but generally, if you do this and you go from one stage to the other, same session, or you just use generally like photos to compare in Photoshop this way, what's really good about it is it gives you immediate like feedback as to where, you got it, quote unquote, got it right and where you didn't. And it can help calibrate your eye, especially if you take the time to like evaluate what you've done, look at it, try and catalog the places you think you need to adjust and in what way you need to adjust it. And then you can turn on the image and see if you were right. Doing that repeatedly all the time is really is a really good way of calibrating your eye to see where you're like repeatedly, getting it wrong or not noticing things and so on. Obviously, you can't do that from a live model, but it can still help with a live model over time, kind of thing. It's not the only thing you should do if you want to be more accurate with your drawing, but it is one thing you can do. If you haven't done any figure drawing ever, I would say that while this is a good system, same way tracing or projecting is a good system, you probably want to spend some time doing freehand figure drawing because, getting the basics down and getting proficient with them is always the best thing to do. And in fact, I can give a this is anecdotal, of course, because it's my experience. But when I was in art school learning, um, we did a lot of tracing. Tracing was a big part of the way we studied. We would trace for numerous reasons. Um, Never as a replacement, but it was a practice. And um, you would think that tracing is like, you know, like there's no skill involved with tracing. But when I went um, and traced more, and then as I got better and I did some more traces, and I went back and looked at some of my older stuff that I traced, even that was a huge difference. Like I could see improvement in my ability to trace properly or to trace in a way that made a good image. Because even that isn't, doesn't lack skill. So that's why I say, like, it's always good to work on the fundamentals and to get better at them. Like I said, I don't need to actually draw in every detail. This is more about general placement of things. And you can do this as many times as you want during the painting process. It's not like it has to be only once or something. In fact, I can say that I did a what's it called? I did a painting a couple of years ago. I was using the grid system a lot more at the time, and that can really, personally, I find that now very stiff. And honestly, I also got lost in some of it sometimes. Like there's one painting back there that there's a lot of blankets and folds and everything, and I straight up like got lost in it and couldn't figure out where I was after laying it all in. Um, which ended up just being more work for me because I had to basically kind of cover it up and then paint it back in, because that's the easiest way to kind of like find your place, or at least in that scenario it was the easiest way for me to find my place. And I did have another painting I did long years ago, something similar. I was painting a hand. It was my Joker painting, and the hand's like close up to the camera. And when I first drew it in, I ended up like drawing in the hand and then drawing in all the details of the knuckles, and that ended up just making everything worse and more difficult. So eventually what I did was I just basically blocked in the fingers entirely one color, and then from there went back in and started adding all the you know, all the details, all the shadows and everything. So all that to say that drawing in everything in the beginning often actually makes life more difficult rather than easier. And it's not easy to like get past that, but yeah. Uh, Destiny says, here and lurking mostly. I saw you go live on YouTube, but we'll keep this one up. Hey, no problem. This teeny. Sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, but absolutely. Welcome to Lurk. Thank you for letting me know. It's nice to know that there are people watching and not just VOD viewers. But yeah, thanks. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you had a great New Year's. I think my voice is a little rough today, I'm noticing, but not a big deal. But yeah. Oh, it's Laura. Hey, from D's Arts from YouTube. Got it, got it. My brain isn't good at making connections like that when it's written. Yeah, I do recognize the name from there. Absolutely. But yeah, either one. You're absolutely welcome to keep either one up. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm just, like I said, just drawing in all the adjustments that need to be done. Clearly, half of his, well, maybe a third of his face, quarter, eighth. I don't know. Part. Oh, we'll go with part. part of his face got covered up with the brayer, which I've mentioned before is the idea that's on purpose, or not on purpose, by design. I want the randomness, I want the mess in, because I want to incorporate it more into the painting in a more organic way. In fact, I can say that while I do incorporate that stuff into my paintings currently, I want to do it even more. I want to push that that element even more, which is something I'll be focusing on in general. I'm genuinely surprised that some of this painting is still wet. It's not a bad thing. I just wish all of it was wet or none of it. Generally speaking, that's my preference. One or the other. Um, the artist Alpi Fay or Alpi Effie, I need to look it up once. I always say that and always forget to. He's an artist. To say that he's an artist on YouTube doesn't quite cut it. He's a great artist who also makes YouTube videos. Um, and the reason I'm mentioning him is the way he lays out a painting is much, much cleaner than me. He does the drawing. You can see his pencil drawing, or I don't know what he draws with. I think it's pencil. And he lays it out real clean. He's really, really precise. He's really good. And and then he goes in and like, paints everything in. He claims that he adjusts things as he goes. Like after he lays in the color, he claims that he goes back and adjusts things, but I don't know. It looks pretty like one and done to me. I'm sure he does, but like barely. It's crazy. He does use a brayer later on, and then he goes back and adjusts it then afterwards, because he does use a brayer to do the backgrounds and some on the foreground, and then he like goes back in and fixes the painting. So that he does do, but yeah, much cleaner, much more precise way of going about things. That's all to say that you can go about it however you want. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. It's interesting the way the camera picks up details and the way our eyes pick up details are very different. It's not just details, it's the light, all of it combined. Like all the that's the reason that it's so good to do studies from life if you can or when you can. It's also why I know a lot of people hate the way they look in photos. Actually, I'm one of them. I don't like how I look in photos. Um, but it's worth remembering that, you know, obviously it doesn't look like a completely different person, but the way the camera renders colors and details and freezes everything in place is very different than how our eyes see things. So it's also similar. The reason a lot of people, me included, uh, I hate the way I sound in recordings. Like I hate my voice when I hear it. And the reason, my understanding at least, is the reason for that is because when we don't hear when we talk, we hear the resonance in our head of our own voice, and when we hear it recorded, that is lacking. So it sounds like foreign and incorrect when we hear it. A lot of people have a similar thing when they see photos of themselves that is not mirrored. They also feel because only time we see each other, see ourselves is mirrored. So when you suddenly see yourself not mirrored, it doesn't look right to you. Uh, and funny enough, for everybody else, it's the opposite. When they see you, if it's someone that knows you really well, when they see you mirrored, something looks wrong versus, seeing you, quote unquote, regular. All right. I think that's all I need from this at the moment. Uh, These Arts asks if I've ever watched the UK Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year TV series. They have one for landscapes too. Yes, yes, I have. I've watched a lot of that. I've watched many of those. I like that series a lot. I wish it was easier to watch. It's so hard to find and watch here. Um, I know some of it now is on Amazon on Prime, but it's only like the first 3 seasons, and I've seen those before. But yeah, it's a fun series. It's flawed, like everything, but it's still a fun series. I wish I could participate in it. I would totally apply for it if I could. Absolutely. Um, 4 hours? I could do it in 4 hours. I'd have to practice to get there, but yeah. I have a painting. Let me see if I have it out. I do not. I have a small little painting of myself that I did on stream in 6 hours, which I know isn't four, but if I'm working for that, yeah, I could do it. You do a lot of your digital stuff fairly quickly. Yeah. No, I've done full paintings in that time, portraits. It's doable. Usually the people who, at least from what I gather, the people who participate in it, they get a little bit of notice prior, so they have some time to like practice, getting up to speed kind of thing. I would be using digital tools to do it 100%. I'd have like, you know, I'd have an iPad and a stand and all everything kind of, set up prior. Uh, yeah. And I'd probably do a loose grid just for like basic placement because time's such an issue. Hmm. If it was easier to watch, if we could get it regularly, I would host a fan what's it called? Like I don't know if weekly, maybe monthly uh drawing competition where we get together online and try and paint one of the people from the show like weekly. Christian Hook is so good. You've been following him since you saw him on this first episode. Yeah, but maybe I'm wrong about this. Um, he doesn't paint enough. Like I don't see enough of his work. Maybe I'm wrong, but I follow him as well, and I'm like he doesn't do enough work generally speaking. I'm gonna put in eye drops real quick. But yeah, I like his paintings. There was also another artist who won. I can't remember his name. I really like his paintings. Um, he's the one who did the painting of the ballerina. Maybe ballerina is not the right term, but ballet dancer. Um, laying down. Uh, his stuff is so good, but like once again, he doesn't paint enough or he doesn't post enough about it. He's like I never see his stuff. I don't know if he's even active. It's like that kind of situation. But yeah, it's a good show. I like what's his name? Ed Shin is it I can't pronounce it. Ed Shin Schoenberg or whatever. I like him. Yeah, I wish it was easier to watch, like to find to watch. They do not make it easy. I don't know why. I really don't know why some places make it so hard to like watch their stuff. Seems so counterintuitive to me. Uh, Des Des says he has a lot on Instagram, but he also had a lot of shows in Europe. Yeah, and also yeah, it's very difficult to watch those shows because you need TV service in the area. A good old VPN doesn't cut it. No, right, it doesn't. You can't just use a VPN. You have to actually yeah register your service with them. It's so the thing that's so frustrating about that stuff is like it's one of those things where it's like okay, I get it. You want, to paywall it. You want to, make money off of this. Okay, great. What is a reasonable way that I can either pay for it or watch commercials while watching it? Oh, there is none? Okay. So the only way I can view this is to pirate it? It's kind of a bad system, you know. Other than maybe I think I could maybe buy like the seasons like on DVD or something, but that's just ridiculous. Like that's unreasonable. If you had a friend over there, you could just jump on Discord with them and they could stream it to me, but you don't. Yeah. Once again, I feel like they shouldn't be making it this difficult to watch. I feel like if the easier they make it to watch, the like the less people will bother, pirating it in any way. I need more black. But yeah. I mean, the show's been out for years at this point, and it's still barely viewable over here. Hey, Don Lee. Happy New Year's. Good to see you. How you doing? You're here, but on the phone, can't hear just yet? Okay. Hi, Don Lee. Canada has a Landscape Artist of the Year show? Oh, really? I didn't know that. I theoretically wish they would make an American version, but I know that they will totally like lose the like the nice, kind-hearted artist side of it and make it into some kind of cutthroat, you know, like competition that's just going to ruin it. So I kind of don't want them to bring it to America for that reason. But yeah, I didn't know that Canada had one. That's cool. Is it just called Canada's Landscape Artist of the Year? Oh, thank you. But also, don't find a link if you're busy painting or drawing or something. I don't want to take away from that. No, I'm sick, recovering from the COVID, so your feet up in a recliner. Got it. I hope you feel better soon. How you doing, Don Lee? Sorry, I know I already messaged you about this, but sorry I missed your stream the other day. I hope it was a good one. They, they always are, honestly. So adding a bit of red to my green mixture is gonna help neutralize the strength of the green and gray it out a bit more. I use both complementary colors and black to do those things. It kind of depends on the circumstance. Um, Both do the same thing, slightly different. Just kind of depends. I think the thing is that the what's it called? The red neutralizes the color a bit more without darkening it as much, which I know seems kind of obvious, but yeah, that's what it does. All right, before I can continue, I need to put out some more paint. I can often get away with using very small piles because the colors I use are so strong, but there's a limit to that. So whenever I drop a little bit of paint like I just did, like literally just flecks of paint, try and pick them up. Um, I mean, generally you want to keep things clean, obviously, but the big reason is because of the cats. They like to hang out underneath my easel, so I try and keep that area devoid of anything like that. I'm going to put out some more yellow. There's no way I'm not going to need more of it. Nope. Uh, Des says I might have posted it there, but I don't remember how or where to post. No worries, Des. If you're not up for it, it's not a big deal. I'll go searching for it. I'm sure it's not that hard to find. You found it. It's the first episode. Awesome. Very cool. I'll have to check it out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Are you saying you can watch it all on the CBCA website? I do have a VPN. I don't know what that website. I'm not familiar with that website, but I'm sure it's the whatever a channel in Canada, from what it sounds like. Uh, it's the Gem CBCCA. All episodes are there. Interesting. Very cool. I'll check it out. Thanks so much. I hate that some of the painting is partially wet. It's like the wrong time to paint on those parts. Sometimes that's unavoidable when you're doing a large painting, but then you can section it off a bit better. Let's see. Des says, I'm crappy at landscapes, much prefer portraits. Uh, yeah. I'm not the best at landscapes either. Or rather, I prefer portraits. I have done some plein air painting before, it's really rough. It being good at plein air painting and being good at like other types of painting are obviously related, but it's not the same thing. It is definitely a different skill. I do think that generally painting people is like best practice to do. Because I feel like if you're good at painting people, it's a lot easier to get good at painting landscapes versus being good at landscapes and then learning to paint people well. But that could be just my bias. Uh, but I will say there is a degree of like expertise that some people have when they do landscapes. That's I'm sure like not just a lot of work to achieve. It's just one of those things that you're not going to achieve quickly. You know, knowing what type of trees something are. Like when I look at a person, when I look at their face, when I look at their body, there's a lot of context clues that I'm aware of that I know what to look for, even if I can't see everything, even if they're wearing clothes or, they're posed weird or whatever, or the lighting's bad. Like there's a lot of things that I'm very, very familiar with at this point. So I know what to look for. Getting that kind of expertise in landscape would take a long time, I'm sure. Just because a tree, just because, like to me, just, trees look kind of a lot of trees look very similar and I can't distinguish much between them. Doesn't mean there isn't a lot there to distinguish and learn between. Just generally don't find it that interesting, which is why I haven't learned all that stuff. Having said that, I think I'm not like I think when painting at home, I don't think I'm terrible at landscapes. I just wouldn't call myself an expert at it. Yeah, or the focus either. Like it's clearly not the focus of my paintings. But I think I do a good job of painting the landscapes that are in the backgrounds of my paintings. Put it that way. And ultimately, it's all, it's definitely one of those things where it's like it's all shapes and values and so on. All that is universal. But, you know, like I said, the expertise level is a different story. But yeah, every time I go plein air painting, I want to just like tell the people like, no, really, I promise I'm actually a decent artist because most of my plein air paintings look like crap. What's it called? Lately, in the last couple years, I've been, I still do portraits, obviously, but I've also been making a move into what I call, or I think is referred to, I'm not, I think generally is referred to as figurative painting, where it's like, yeah, I'm painting people, but it's not a portrait, it's not a close up of the person. I think the two, obviously figurative and portraiture overlap. So, but yeah, I've been moving a little more into general figurative, not just portraits. I love portraits. I love painting portraits, but just trying to do other things in addition to portraits. I think the other reason I'm trying to do more figurative and not just portraits is I feel like, you know, there are exceptions to this, of course, but generally, like people who want portraits are the people who want a portrait of either themselves or family members. And I'm trying to stay away from like becoming a commission portrait, you know, uh, like painter. Not saying I'll never take any, not saying I'm not open for any commissions and I'm not going to do any of that, but I don't want that to be like the only thing I do. I would like it if people bought the paintings that I painted on my own, not just what they commissioned me to paint for them. Uh, Des says I'm too lazy, unmotivated to be a commission artist. You know, that's fair. For me personally, it's not an issue of being lazy. Um, it's just that I want to be more independent. So, you know, I'm hoping I can paint paintings that are interesting enough that people will want to buy them without having to commission me to paint for them. I mean, I've already sold paintings. It's not like I've never sold anything, so that's the route I would rather go. And definitely not not the route of what's it called? Um, Pet portraits. I am not a pet portrait person. Once again, I'm not ruling out ever doing a pet portrait, but I'm not going to be one of those people who like that's the main focus. I don't have that in me. Don Lee says, "Okay, I can listen now." All right, Don Lee, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you had a good New Year's. Don Lee says, "I don't mind pet portraits. Pets and people's all good to me. Not bad for New Year's. Thanks. Good, man. You know, I'm just yeah, I don't know. Not all that interested in doing pet portraits. Like I said, I'm not ruling it out ever. Like there are definitely times I would be absolutely willing to do them. And just in general, it's not my preference. Um, yeah. Like I said, being a commission artist in general is not like my focus. I'm trying to think. I haven't done a ton of animal portraits in general. I don't. I, how can I put this? I think I'd be comfortable painting animals. I don't know that I'd be comfortable doing like advanced things with the portrait. Like if you have to like move their face or do any kind of adjustments, that's hard in general. That's very difficult. People, pets, all of it. It's really hard to adjust major aspects of a reference. Conley says you make it look easy though. Check out your palette. You have a turkey painting starting. Bet you didn't even notice. I did not notice at all. That's so funny. I can kind of see it. Yeah, I did not notice that at all. That's funny. You love seeing things in people's palettes? That's cool. Like it's kind of like looking at clouds. Yeah, I really see it now. I'm assuming the head, right? The body, the feathers, kind of thing. Yep. Yeah. There's a guy who lays out his paint from the tubes that makes the blobs look like geese in dresses, like nuns of different colors. Scordello? I know Scordello. I like Scordello. I haven't watched him in forever, but yeah, I like Scordello. You haven't seen him on in ages? Yeah, I don't know what's up. I haven't been the most online lately, so I don't know. But yeah, I haven't seen him in ages either. Maybe he'll come back this year, stream more often. Who knows? Speaking of streaming, I might hold on a second. Does says doesn't have his videos saved. I think it's because he plays music on stream. He has a stream schedule for tomorrow. I'll watch for him. Yeah, I don't save my streams either. Originally because of that same reason, although I don't play any music anymore, so I guess I could save my streams. I just need to actually, turn it on. But yeah, I used to not save my streams for that same reason. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, speaking of streaming, I may have to adjust my schedule. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But yeah, might have to do some adjusting to my schedule at least for a couple months. We'll see how things go. I uh, I signed up for Nicholas Uribe's class, um, so we'll see. Cool. Yeah, yeah. Nicholas Uribe is great. Taking his class obviously to learn from him. You're never done learning in art. Um, but also I want to see how he runs his class. Not that I'm going to take his like what he teaches from it. Obviously, that's his stuff to teach. But I do want to learn like how he teaches in general as well, because I know he's a really good teacher. Yeah, man, his class sold out almost instantaneously. It was crazy. I don't know if anybody here tried to look at it to buy it, but it was within, I think within like a half hour or something, it was already sold out. Maybe faster, I just didn't see it. Yeah. So in case anyone's curious, brown is essentially just a darker orange. It's a dark desaturated orange. So if you ever need to mix a brown, that's how you mix brown. You can just mix an orange and then darken and desaturate it. And of course, the amount depends on what you need. Donley says, not that it's 100% accurate, but you checked a site called Twitch Metrics, and it doesn't look like Scrudella has streamed in quite a while. Yeah, I didn't think so. His schedule is probably just by, up by default kind of thing. Has I started streaming again? I heard she did. I could be wrong. I envy. Yeah. You've seen her streaming a few times? Nice. That's great. Yeah, I used to like watching her streams, but she stopped for a long time. All right, I need a quick break. I'm not going anywhere. I just need to stretch for a second. All right, go on and just stretch here for a minute. Oh. Painting in any position is surprisingly hard on the body. I think that probably applies to anything in general, anything where you're in the same position for a long time. So, just a casual reminder to everybody to stretch and take care of yourself. Also, if you don't have someone to give you back massages, this thing can help. If you don't, even if you do and you don't want to bother them all the time, it's a good way of like targeting spots on your back and that you can't reach otherwise. I also heard of another system which is just to grab like a tennis ball and put it up against the wall and you can like roll yourself into spot. Good. It reminds me of like a bear scratching their back on a tree or something, which I think is funny. Lee says he puts a tennis ball in a long sock so he has more control. That makes sense. I wish I could train my cats to like, because they, when you pet them, they do the kneading thing. I wish I could train them to like give me massages. I could just lay down, they could climb on me, and I could point to a spot and they'd just start kneading there. So when it comes to painting shadows, there's first of all no rule as far as like shadows being cool or warm. There's a generalization that shadows should be cool, but it's not a rule. They can be warm. Generally, you want your shadows and your lights to be flipped, meaning if one's cool, then the other's warm, usually. Um, these are like general big rules, but it gets a lot more nuanced than that as soon as you dive in a little bit. So, having those basic ideas and rules in your head is not a bad thing, but know that it's a lot more Um, a lot more nuanced than that. And people also say stuff like never put, um, white into your shadows, which is not bad advice. Um, because once it's there, it's really hard. You have to like if you want it to go darker or be less like quote unquote milky, it's hard to deal with. Um, I say as I do exactly that. And that's my point. I'm not saying I'm not, saying that it's like something special. It's just how I approach painting. But yeah, these are generalizations that help and are very useful um, when you're inexperienced. But it's not a perfect like hard fast rule or anything. So, but also if you're new to painting and you try, uh, you know, there's a good chance it'll all come out either make your painting look all milky or hazy or muddy. All of those happen a lot. All to say, if your favorite painter doesn't abide by those things and you want to paint just like them, study it and give it time, and you'll figure it out. Part of the reason that is not the most accurate is because let's say if what's it called? If you're doing a painting figure or portrait of someone and for whatever reason the shadows are very cool, very, let's say there's a bunch of things around them and that's very very cool and it's bouncing back just all blues and greens, right? Cool, that's, that could be a very fun painting. um but it's worth remembering that in parts where like the body is close to itself, like if like at the armpit or something like that, if they're not wearing a shirt, your body, the light's bouncing off of your own body, and so it'll almost always be warmer where it's very dark on figures. And also like on the body in general, if like it's in the light and it's a cool light, you've got a lot of cool colors on their skin, that, that's great. But once again, there's what's the term for it? There's a term for it when light um basically bounces around the subsurface scattering. That's it. So the light actually goes a little bit into your body and then exits, and that gives a warm color. So if you know, it's not on everyone. The darker your skin is, the more melanin I think it is, the more reflective your skin is. That's my understanding. So, you know, and once again, I'm not sure it's a 100% thing, but tendency at least. So, uh, yeah, but so that will change things, of course. Des says, sorry to say, I'm going to have to go. Gotta go lie down. Have a good night. I'll see you soon. Ah, no problem, Des. Feel better. Go, lay down. I hope you have a quick recovery. And no need to apologize. Also, if you for some reason want to, there is going to be a video on my YouTube channel. The VOD is going to be up or available. And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. But yeah, more important that you feel better than anything else. Oh, Donley, if I haven't plugged you yet, just a reminder, everyone, Donley is a friend of the stream. Don Leo on Twitch. He streams art. He does digital art. A lot of fun stuff. I highly recommend his stream. Donley, I think your command actually works in this in oh, what's it called? On Twitch. I think. I'm not positive. I don't think there's anybody else here but you, but yeah. No, it's your command for you. Anyway, whatever. Like I said, I don't think it really matters right now. I'm pretty sure you're the only one here, but which I appreciate, by the way. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Nicholas Uribe's class. For anyone who's not familiar, Art Painted Lives is their YouTube channel and their website. And Nicholas Uribe is amazing. Such a good painter. I highly recommend checking him out. Thanks, Donley. Oh, here's your Twitch. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. I'll copy paste it into the YouTube chat. No one's there right now, but some people watch the VODs. So I always act as if someone's watching my YouTube channel because people go back and watch the VODs occasionally. I have a hard like okay, this isn't for art. Oh, I guess it is for art. I have a hard time watching VODs. I feel like if I'm not watching live, I would then want rather like curated videos at that point. But I'm grateful for the people that do watch the VODs. I know you've watched them before, so Donley, which I appreciate. But yeah, This is coming together. This is early stages still. I'm not like, you know, I'm aware of that. Not that I don't expect it to come together, like obviously I do. Uh, at some point it stops becoming a you know, like it's painting's always challenging, but at some point it stops becoming a like um not a guessing game of like, will I be able to pull this off? You've after you've done it enough times, it's yeah, the expectation is that you will. Doesn't always happen, but usually when it doesn't happen, it's more an issue of choice of like, I could finish this, but I realize why it's not going to work and I'm just not going to bother versus like how it used to be when I was, first getting into painting and it'd be like, maybe, maybe not. It's a, 50-50 shot or less often. uh, but yeah. Think I'm going to be ending stream soonish. I'm just going to try and block in some more big things and then I think I'll be calling it a night. Like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes maybe? Something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I try and give like ample warning because sometimes, you know, I don't know, people want to say something or I get raided. That's happened once or twice. I've stayed longer because of that. So I'm switching over to the palette knife just because the things that I'm planning on uh, painting right now are like kind of big and flat, or and it's just easier to put down a lot more paint this way. I need to clean out my white. A lot of it's dry. Didn't realize that. Is another found image? Yes, it is. There's another found image. I I am torn on like doing portraits from found images. Um, I'm this is well, I guess it depends on how old the photos are, but this is probably as close as I plan on getting on like most, if ever, but I'm also going to like I also edited the photo and I'm going to continue to adjust the painting so that it hopefully, is one of those things that doesn't rely on the person's likeness. Also worth mentioning, the photos in black and white and different proportions. I've already like edited, added color, cropped it. There's a lot I've already done to it. So one of those things where I suppose the person who took the photo or the person in the photo, if they saw it, or if you put the two side by side, I'm assuming someone would be like, yeah, I can see it. But otherwise, the idea is that it won't be that obvious. That's why it's not technically a portrait. I actually just bought another um, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Another lot of found photos. I just I just ordered another one. Um, I wanted to because a lot of them aren't good for reference for what's it called for paintings. Like I wish they all were great, but they're not. So you only get so many out of a batch. So I just ordered some more, specifically because I'm taking that class. I wanted to make sure I had enough reference for anything if I needed it. If I don't know, Nicholas Uribe might provide the reference. I don't know. I haven't taken his class yet, so we'll see. I also wanted to make sure I had plenty of stuff to do on stream. I've used stock images before, and I'm not opposed to it, but stock images are, they're taken for a different purpose, and so they're not necessarily good painting reference. You can find good ones, but overall, they're not good. Did he send you a list of things needed for the class? No. So far, zero contact. I'm assuming it's because it's the New Year's. Like, I'm assuming I'll get something tomorrow. Either that or it went to my spam filter and I didn't pay attention. That could also be. I should be pretty good to go as far as like having everything I would possibly need for the class personally, but I'm sure that's, not everybody. But maybe in the first, less in the first, what's it called? Um, the first meeting, there's no actual painting involved anyways. It could be like a first one is, just to talk about stuff, go over it, discussion, so on. I'm gonna have to clean all this out. A lot of it's dry. I wish I could be as precise and delicate with what's it called? With the palette knife as I am with the brush. I don't know if it's possible. Some people do whole paintings with the palette knife, but usually when they do, you can tell. It's not a bad thing. I'm just stating the, fact. I wish I could be able to paint with a palette knife and have it so clean that you couldn't tell. That would be what I would want. I keep talking about stuff like this. It's basically I wish I could find a way of painting that didn't involve paintbrushes because I hate dealing with paintbrushes. Would a wider variety of palette knives help? It helps. I do have some variety. Do have a couple others. It's just they're just not designed for that. They're not brushes have a function and palette knives have a function, and they're just not the same. Like the way that they apply paint is just different by just based off of the physical attributes that they have. I also have like the paint pushers or whatever they're called. They're like the silicone thingies. They're kind of like an in between, but it's still not the same. Maybe we need to turn you into We Odd Palette Hands or something. No, thank you. I would very much not like to. I've seen Edward Scissorhands. I don't need any variety of that. Thank you very much. Alrighty. I think this is a great start for the stream. I will be calling it a night. I'll be streaming again on Wednesday. So I'll be continuing this painting on Wednesday. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great beginning on this one, I think. It's a lot of fun. So, gonna have Dresden say goodbye to everybody. Huh. Oh, Dresden, it's time to say goodbye. Yeah, I know you didn't want to get out of my chair, but the problem, Dresden, is that I'm going to need my chair. So I'm going to have to get you up anyways. Yeah. Say goodbye, Dresden. Say goodbye. He is not being cooperative. Oh, you're looking at my hand? Okay. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don Lee, thank you. Yeah, like I said, Wednesday, I will be back. That's all I got for now. Have a good one, everyone.